A clean first phase move in traffic in a final? Please, South African boys do this every week. Rugby! Actually, that was very good. Joke's on you, Gondol07. I knew there was rugby on this weekend. I just knew I wouldn't be able to watch any of it. But this is no time for jokes. There is an extremely serious rugby match being played between two extremely serious rugby teams this Saturday. June, 8 whole years ago. The world was still reeling from the Harambe incident, the Brexit vote had just happened, and the world of politics would forever become the domain of the loudest fart in the room. That's the last time the Irish came to South Africa under the meticulous coaching of now Aussie boss Joe Schmidt. They lost that series of 3 games, but not without beating the Springboks on SA soil for the first time ever in the first game. By then, Ireland were already showing signs of their current deadliness, and they would go on to beat the All Blacks for the first time ever only a few months later. South Africa were playing their first ever series under then new coach Alistair Coetzee. But that's all ancient history. We know how things panned out since that fateful time in June 2016. And now we are here. 2-time CAC champs and the Raven Shield holders, also World number 1 and Begelebeke, will be hosting World number 2 and back-to-back Six Nation champs at Loftus for Game 1. Whew! As of writing, the Irish team has not been announced, but Rassie has been so kind as to provide us with a team he thinks will be playing. And why would I disagree with him? An appeal to authority is a great way to get out of research. Most of the hits are there, except spelled incorrectly, which I can't figure out if it's part of the troll or just laziness. The big question for Ireland is what to do now that Jamison Gibson-Park is injured. He was genuinely in World Player of the Year form during the Six Nations and was easily making up for the big hole left by Johnny Sexton. Without him, it's up to fast-moving micro machine Craig Casey and old head Murray to run the game. Rassie thinks it will be Casey starting, but I disagree with him. I think it will probably be Murray starting because he's played at Loftus before and he knows Jack Crowley better. Not much else to debate after that though, because this is a fantasy made-up team from a crazy person. This is still the Irish team we all know and admire. Their pack is strong and no longer scared of the physical stuff, and their backline is as slick as a river rock covered in algae. And now, behold, the meat eaters. Like we expect with the Ireland team, the Bok coaches are playing all the hits. The pack has 8 out of 8 World Cup winners, and behind them are 7 out of 7 World Cup winners. Lucanio is still sitting behind the informed Kriel, and Franco Mostert still starts in the absence of Loet Jager. Quagga is starting at 8 because Jasper was a naughty, and that puts Marco van Staren on the bench. And if I remember correctly, he was basically the best player on the park in last year's Loftus test, so happy me. The bench is where we see some younger faces, with Steenekamp being the newer prop and Sasha FM being there in place of Damian Willemse. As I've said a few times before, it's hard to be upset at a Bok team these days, and this one is no different. Now, the last time these two teams played was massive, and the physicality was off the charts. The Boks had a major edge at the line-out, but they kept missing all their kicks at goal, is what I keep remembering over and over. The Irish had the territory advantage, and James Lowe's left peg was keeping the Boks far away from the Irish red zone. This time, I'm sure the Boks will be hoping to hit all their shots at goal, and the Irish will hope to be just as slick without the services of Taranaki's finest. For me, most modern rugby games between very good teams is won at the ruck. If you are able to get clean and quick ball at your ruck while slowing down your opponent's ball so your defense can set, then a win is almost guaranteed. Quagga, Sia, Pieterstef and Marco are crucial for the Boks, while Doris, Omani, Byrne and Van der Vlier are as important for the Irish. Keep an eye open for that ruck battle, because it's going to be dirty, brutal and enthralling. I will be there. Where's North? There. And hopefully it won't go the same way as it did 2 weeks ago when I was at Loftus. Eesh. In fact, I will be at Hudson's in Hazelwood at around 1ish on Saturday to just hang out and pre-game if anyone watching is going as well. My friend Harry Jones of the 8-9 Combo will also be there, along with some other notable rugby folk, including Marie Kinsella, Rob Lowe and Antoine Dupont. You'll only know if you come through. Now I've waffled on about the Bok versus Ireland game so long you probably think there's no other rugby matches happening. There are. A whole 8 other international rugby matches happening all across the world, plus an additional 6 under-20 World Championship matches starting on Thursday already. And those were the ones on the first website I clicked on. There's probably more. Friday's lineup of Samoa versus Italy and Georgia versus Fiji is already pretty good each, but leave some space for Saturday. Of course, I will be setting the table for the fast improving England touring New Zealand, who are now coached by the harbinger of our doom. Australia versus Wales will be precious, like a baby race, and Argentina will feel like they are in a literal baby race against a French squad with 19 out of the 32 players uncapped. And then if you're really up late, we have a fun one, with Canada likely getting gutter stomped by a pretty strong Scotland squad. As mentioned, I am excited to see if England's more bedded in coaching team and team culture can catch Razor Robertson's All Blacks cold. Years of trauma says no. The Wallabies, I think, should be able to win as well. They give the Boks trouble when they play in Australia, so the Welsh team shouldn't be any trouble. Either way, international rugby got me vibrating. Now, how do I get the news out of this thing? Come on! The top 14 had a final on Friday night, in so much as 2 teams were in the stadium. It seemed only one was on the pitch though, because Toulouse ran in 9 tries on their way to a 59-3 demolition of Bordeaux. Of course, DuPont was brilliant. And of course, Safa fans went full, but what about Coley in the comments? Such are the times we live in. The top 14 now takes 2 weeks off and then restarts again for another 200 weeks of serious action. And finally, Michael Hooper has announced his retirement from rugby in Australia. Go well. But Portia Woodman, she has announced that this Olympic Sevens tournament will be her last in rugby ever. We all like to go on about how good DuPont is compared to how good Dupree was or Ducor was or whatever, but Portia Woodman, man, I think she's the only player to have won 2 15s World Cups and 2 7 Series championships. She's won a gold medal at the Olympics and a silver medal at the Olympics and a gold medal and a bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games. I think she was named Player of the Season for the Sevens once and Player of the Year for women's rugby in the 15s twice. And I think she's also got like a whole bunch of try-scoring records in both formats. She is maybe the most balanced runner I've ever seen, and I hope Andrew Ford is working on her highlights video for when she finally hangs up her boots. Get on it. Because I certainly will not. This week's rugby update ends there. I will see you all next week to talk about how Canada beat Scotland. What? Bye.